This is the story of a man named Michang. Michang was born in the year 1993, which would classify him as a millennial. After whining on social media like the millennial that he is, Michang headed to the kitchen for some food. And as a millennial, he decided to make a snack suited just for him, some avocado toast. But upon reaching for the bread, he realized that he forgot to stop by his local Whole Foods, his regular hub for all his millennial needs. Because of course, he had his eyes glued to one of those damn smartphones. These millennials are what's ruining this world.
That's not relevant to the story. It never is.
Sorry. Though without avocado, what was a millennial to do? But then he snapped his fingers and said to himself, maybe I should make a sandwich. So he went to the fridge for some meat and condiments. But as he reached for the mayonnaise, he said, "Oh, never in my life."
Wait a minute, why would I say that?
Because you hate mayonnaise.
I mean, I don't love it, but I definitely don't hate it. Why would you say that?
Because you're a millennial.
Who says millennials don't like mayonnaise?
Says this article.
We're really doing this, huh? What's up, everybody? It's Michang here, and welcome back to What Up Wednesday, the place where you and I talk about what's up. And today, there's a little interesting article that I wanted to take a look at. It's an article from PhillyMag.com called How Millennials Killed Mayonnaise. Now listen, millennials get blamed for pretty much everything on the face of the earth, but this is the first time I've heard something as ridiculous as mayonnaise. Where did mayonnaise go? It hasn't gone anywhere. I can go on a long list of ridiculous things that millennials, like myself, have been blamed for, but mayonnaise, I just did not expect to see that ever in any case. I actually saw this article on Twitter via certain screenshots, and I actually haven't read the whole thing yet, so I just want to read through this article and see what ridiculous stuff is in here. Maybe it's worth it making a video, maybe it's not. I don't know, but we'll find out. Now this is an article by Sandy Hingston. I'm sure you're very familiar with her other work, such as... I have no idea, and it's not worth looking into. But let's stop bashing this right now because I haven't even read it yet, and maybe it's a really good article, I'm sure. It starts off saying, the inexorable rise of identity condiments. Identity condiments? What identity condiments are we talking about here? The inexorable rise of identity condiments has led to hard times for the most American of food stuff, and that's a shame. Listen, as I said earlier, I don't really hate mayonnaise, I don't love it either, but it's there. I still use it from time to time in certain dishes. But to claim that mayonnaise is on hard times, I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. I write this in the dead of summer, always a bittersweet season. Why is it we got summers off from school for all those years, but don't get summers off from work? Lady, I agree with you there. That's one thing we can agree on. But doubly depressing these days when I find myself suffering from picnic panic. Girl, I feel you. That's all I ever think about in these summer months. The hot, languid weather brings with it a series of outdoor family events for which, as a tribal elder, I'm charged with providing provisions. Lately, though, I've had my feet cut out for me. For years, nay, decades, my contributions to the Hingston Clan's Memorial Day and 4th of July and Labor Day gatherings were no-brainers. I made what my mother once made. It looks like Sandy has a very eloquent writing style, which is very okay with me, but it's a little much to talk about the death of mayonnaise. She was such a good cook that when she died prematurely, my husband and I typed up and photocopied, quaint, I know, a booklet of her recipes, tried and true favorites on which she built her formidable culinary reputation. When the holidays rolled around, I simply recreated one of her delicious dishes and toted it along. Now we've gotten a lot of exposition to the life of Sandy here, but I'm not really hearing anything about mayonnaise, which is supposed to be what this article is about. Clearly her English teacher didn't think being concise was very important. Along about a decade ago, though, I began to notice that I was toting home as much of my offerings as I'd concocted. My contributions were being overlooked or shunned. Why should this be? Mom's extraordinary potato salad, fragrant with dill, spiced by celery seed, went untouched on the picnic table. Maybe you're just not as good of a cook as you think you are. I don't know, I think I'm a good cook, but nobody eats my food for some reason. So did her macaroni salad, and her chicken salad, and her deviled eggs, and clearly nobody told you about how to use conjunctions correctly. When I carted home a good 3 pounds of painstakingly prepared Waldorf salad, all that peeling and coring and slicing, I was forced to face facts. The family's tastes had changed. Oh no, the trend of mayonnaise is dying, or maybe your family just has different preferences because people are different. Or rather, our family had changed. As I said, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit too much, Sandy. I'm sorry for that. Oldsters were dying off and the youngins taking our places in the paper plate line were different somehow. I racked my brain for the source of this generational disconnect. And then one holiday weekend, while surveying the condiments set out at a family burger bash, I found it. On offer were 4 different kinds of mustards, 3 ketchups, 1 made from, I kid you not, bananas, 7 sorts of salsa, kimchi, wasabi, relishes of every ilk and hue. I mean, this sounds like a great assortment of condiments. I would not complain. I like experimenting with food a lot, and it sounds like we got some diversity up in this family, which I don't think people should be complaining about, especially you, Sandy. That's right, I'm talking to you, Sandy. What was missing, though, was the common foundation of all mom's picnic foods: mayonnaise. While I wasn't watching, mayo's day had come and gone. It's too basic for contemporary taste. So we're a little ways in and we are already jumping the gun to how mayonnaise is dying. Now I just can't wait to see how millennials are connected to all this and why millennials are the one that's killing mayonnaise, because it's always millennials' fault. Pale and insipid and not nearly exotic enough for our era of globalization, good old mayo has become the Taylor Swift of condiments. See, that is actually a statement that I can agree with, Sandy, because you know what, Taylor Swift, she's alright, but not really my preference. Same with mayonnaise. You know what, maybe Sandy has a pretty good point here. Maybe I am killing off mayonnaise. Is this my fault? Maybe it's my fault. And in the next paragraph, we get a lot more exposition about the life of Sandy's mom. She says, "My mom was the daughter of Lithuanian immigrants, born in an era of which huddled masses clambered ashore at Ellis Island, their pockets stuffed with kielbasa and chorizo and Braunschweiger and Mackinac and Lapchung, and were processed in the great American assimilation grinder, emerging to dine happily ever after on Hatfield hot dogs and potato salad." There was a lot of improv in some of those words right there. And after a few paragraphs of the long history of mayonnaise, we finally get to present day, where we talk about, well, mayonnaise, if you haven't gotten that much. And also connecting it to being an American, because nothing is more American than mayonnaise. I mean, I guess it makes sense with the level of obesity that we have in this country, so yeah, you know, mayonnaise might be a little bit American after all. Because as an American, you lived in a single family house, you drove a station wagon, you wore bowling shirts and blue jeans, and you slathered mayonnaise on everything from BLTs to burgers to pastrami on rye. I don't know how I feel about mayonnaise and pastrami. That just sounds gross to me. And believe me, I love pastrami. Pastrami is the pinnacle of cured meats. But how do you think hold the mayo became a saying? There was always mayo, and if you were some kind of deviant who didn't want it, you had to say so out loud. So I get it, we're ostracizing people who don't like mayo. Now that's not a good look for you, Sandy. I mean, you're already showing your bias towards mayo haters. I don't think it's fair for someone like you to write an article like this, but that's just my thinking. But anyways, let's jump into more exposition about Sandy's life, because that's what we need more of from this article. My son Jake, who's 25, eats mayo. Good for him. He's a practical young man who works in computers and adores macaroni salad. He's a good son. Now, if only that were the only requirements from my parents, maybe they'd actually love me a little bit. I also have a daughter. She's a women's and gender studies major in college. Naturally, she loathes mayonnaise because, oh man, those feminists, yeah, they ain't all about that white stuff. And she's not alone. Ask the young people who know their opinion of mayo, and you'll be shocked by the depths of their emotion. God, I didn't know people felt so strongly either way about mayonnaise. Oh, there's the occasional outlier like my son Jake, the actual good son, unlike my heathen of a daughter. But for the most part, today's youth would sooner get their news from an actual paper newspaper than ingest mayonnaise. Sandy, I have to ask, where are you getting your statistics from? Because, I mean, personally, I have no problem with eating mayonnaise, and I don't know anybody my age that actually reads a newspaper. So again, where are these statistics from? I want to see numbers, I want to see stats, I want to see research studies, I want to see all the numbers that you have. That wasn't very well constructed as a joke, but you know what? I'm just gonna roll with that. The origins of this contentious condiment are hotly debated. By who? Who is debating about the origins of mayonnaise? It ain't me, it ain't anybody my age, it ain't millennials, that's for sure. I mean, maybe. And then there's some more history about mayonnaise that, again, is not super important, but I just want to add in this little excerpt where it says mayo spread ha in parentheses to the common man, because, you know, it's real good pun, Sandy. I'm real proud of you. Maybe I'm skipping some really important mayonnaise information, but to me, I can't be bothered to fit into this video. I'm sorry, Sandy. Maybe I am excluding some of the most important part of your work, but it doesn't work for comedy. It doesn't work for comedy. I'm sorry. Young people like my daughter somehow seem to have extrapolated this masking function from condiment to culture. For them, mayo quite literally whitewashed America's immigrants into eating dull food. I mean, really, what taste does mayonnaise really bring? Can you explain the taste of mayonnaise? mayonnaise? I sure can't. But also, I don't English very good and my vocabulary very low. And newer generations are refusing to meekly fall in line with a culinary heritage that was never theirs. Instead, they're gobbling up kefir and ajvar and chimichurri and gochujang again. She's done a lot more research than me. I don't know any of those things. And I'm supposed to believe that this is a regular millennial thing, that millennials are picking all this stuff over mayonnaise? I don't know. I still think mayonnaise is a much more well-known condiment than whatever the hell that was spoken in that article. But then again, I'm super uncultured and I haven't even had avocado toast. I mean, how many people are actually eating avocado toast? I mean, I have some friends that eat it, but it's not really like a prevalent thing. I'm not overwhelmed with the amount of people that are eating avocado toast in my face. I definitely don't say that it's something that millennials have adopted. I mean, maybe millennials are more likely to be the ones eating avocado toast, but again, I don't have any numbers, I have no stats, I have nothing to prove what I'm saying, I'm just bullshitting. That's all these videos ever really are. They're also shunning their parents' preferred restaurants. Applebee's, Ruby Tuesday, TGI Fridays, maybe because they're all generic as fuck. Especially if you grew up with a family that took you to those places all the time. Maybe you still like it, but it becomes old after a while. And honestly, I think it's weird that Sandy wants to restrict the kind of food that you eat. You only gotta eat at these authentic American chain restaurants. They're just here to take your money and overpriced, and the food is very, very okay. Old school eateries, in turn, are diversifying in their search for new customers. Just this year, Red Lobster rolled out a waffles and lobster option, and Red Robin launched a vegan burger. You don't put mayo on a vegan burger. Why not? What's wrong with that? Are we just gonna discriminate against all vegan burgers? Not all vegan burgers are created equal, and some of them are very good in my opinion. McDonald's has debuted a signature sriracha burger, joining KFC, Wendy's, and Subway, and signing on to the sizzling Thai sauces moment in the sun. You don't see Hoi Fong Foods start a smear campaign against the cultural appropriation of that. Is that supposed to be funny? It's not. I don't like it. But it looks like to me, Sandy, that you need to really expand your horizons as far as food goes. You know, there's more to life than mayonnaise. But what young people really, really love to hate on is mayonnaise. Oh, I know. I've made like 8 videos about how much I hate mayonnaise. I just love to hate on it. Back in 2013, BuzzFeed ran an article titled 24 Reasons Mayonnaise is the Devil's Condiment. Well, BuzzFeed is shit, so I'm not surprised they made an article like that. And that's another thing. If you really buy into what BuzzFeed has to say, then you got another thing coming to you, buddy. Just 3 years later, BuzzFeed ran another piece. Again, BuzzFeed, it's a joke. 23 things you'll only understand if you fucking hate mayo, by a different author. There was no overlap, because yes, people can have the same opinion and different reasons for it. Just in the way that some people just might not like mayonnaise, and sorry, Sandy, that's something you might just have to accept in your life. Anyway, skipping more fluff in the article because Sandy just loves to be super wordy. Granted, there are other theories regarding mass generational mayonnaise rejection. What are these theories? I want to know them. Who's putting their time into studying this, by the way? Some experts, and mayonnaise experts, you don't want to fuck with them, say the dislike springs from the fact that mayo jiggles? Is that really something to be so concerned about? To write this long ass fucking article and do so much research on mayonnaise just to do this? I'm sorry, I might be delving a little bit too much into Sandy's life right now, but I can't help it. You may have noticed used similar circumvention of gelled salads. Okay, I'm gonna throw in my 2 cents here. Gelled salads are just kind of gross. Others posit that mayonnaise is reminiscent of bodily fluids, and therefore, as Penn psychology professor Paul Rosen has suggested, too disgusting to ingest. Well, I'm glad now we actually have the name of some of these mayonnaise experts. Paul Rosen, I'll keep that in mind. I'll be on the lookout for some of his future work. And we have a quote from Kendra Pierre Lewis saying, "Its viscous quality is the sort of thickness that you get from fluid oozing out of a rotted carcass, as anyone who ever poked a rotted squirrel with a stick can attest. And the creamy appearance of mayonnaise isn't dissimilar from what would emerge from, say, a popped zit." Well, you really sold me on eating mayonnaise in that description, but of course Sandy has to put in her 2 cents about this quote. This is bullshit. This attitude comes to you from young people who willingly slurp down 8 gazillion kinds of yogurt, not to mention raw fish and pork belly and detergent pods, so don't talk to me about mayonnaise. Did you just use yo? Just use yo in an article, surrounded by commas. The only reason for this raging mayophobia is a generation's gut-level renouncement of the greatest generation's condiment of choice. Oh, the greatest generation's condiment of choice. What generation are you from? Well, it's later revealed that she's a baby boomer. Surprise, the greatest generation of all time, my ass. But here's the thing. The all-American condiment didn't have to be mayonnaise. It could have been ketchup or mustard. Hell, it could have been horseradish, but it wasn't. You know what? I wish it was horseradish. Horseradish is fucking amazing. Maybe I'm in the minority in thinking that, but you know what? Suck it. I love horseradish. Actually, common question today, what is your favorite condiment? It's not horseradish for me, but it's something. It's not mayo's fault that it's been so successful that it glimpsed the condiment breach and jiggled right on through. Was mayo really this popular and I'm just living in the dark? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on mayonnaise, I guess. And here's another quote from Boston chef Scott Jones. The magic that sets mayonnaise above Coke and Heinz is that mayo is a perfect flavor carrier. I mean, I have no argument against that, I guess. I mean, I also don't really have an argument for that either, but either way, it really doesn't matter. It's fucking mayonnaise. But back to Sandy's words. Hey, we're all capable of growth, you know? I add a little fish sauce to my stir fries these days. Oh man, Sandy, you're touching my heart with those changes. I have a bottle of salsa Lozano on my refrigerator door. What is that? Just some kind of salsa? I don't know. I should probably do more topics to actually know stuff about. I thought young people today were supposed to be all about inclusion, about kindness and compassion and making other people feel welcome. Well, Sandy, your negativity towards people who don't like mayonnaise isn't very inclusive at all. So if you say you want to be included in your whole mayo loving thing, you know what? I welcome you. You're fine. People who like mayo, you're good with me. But don't try and turn this around and say that you're being inclusive and we're not, because that is not the case. I don't even know who I speak for when I say we. Oh, and here's another highlight of a line. Just because something is old and white doesn't mean it's obsolete. Look at Shakespeare. Look at me. Sandy, I'm sorry, but some of your thoughts may be a little dated. I can't even imagine what other thoughts and ideas you have when you're so staunch about this mayonnaise thing. But then again, it may be too late to stanch the mayo hate. America may be already too far gone. Oh, I know. America's doomed because we don't love mayonnaise. It's really a tragedy. Now, according to the Association of Dressings and Sauces, which I did not know there was an association for, I guess there's an association for everything, why not? Older millennials, those ages 25 to 34, I actually just hit 25 today, oh god, are the most frequent purchasers of the mom's preferred condiment, ahead of the next most frequent, which would happen to be my demographic, boomers ages 55 to 65, because of course you're a boomer. Not to say that everybody that's a baby boomer is bad, but listen, there's a lot of them that are not making great names for you guys, I'm sorry. But could a new generation really be primed and ready to take up Richard Hellman's torch? Like, is that a prestigious thing? Is that something that we should be concerned about not being able to handle correctly? I don't know. But she answers the question for us already. She says, no. Well, how dare you? You don't know anything about me. Maybe I'm ready to carry the torch of Richard Hellman, yeah, that guy. And of course we finish this article saying, the saddest part is my mom's macaroni salad is banging. Yeah. Nope, old and white, still obsolete, sorry. You kids are only cheating yourselves by rejecting it, or maybe we're avoiding huge weight gains. I don't know. We might be the smart ones in this scenario. Think about that for a second. Besides, I've got news. That aioli you're also fond of, I hate to bring it to you, but that's just mayonnaise. Oh no, something that I like is actually mayonnaise and it tastes fine. Oh no, what are we gonna do? And that was the end of whatever the fuck this was. I don't even have any words. I don't know why I made this video, but mayonnaise is being killed by millennials, and I still don't really know why. Sorry that the younger generation actually wants to try to broaden their horizons and try new things. I mean, that's not a problem in my book. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think about this article, and you're welcome to read the whole thing because I definitely skipped a lot just for the sake of time. There'll be a link to the article in the description below if you're so interested to read it for yourself. But I think I got most of the highlights. And that's actually gonna be the end of the video for today. And if you liked this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It would really help me out. And if you have suggestions for things you'd like to see me react to, put those in the comment section below as well. And with that said, of course, thank you so much for watching, and hit that subscribe button for all sorts of different content, and I'll make sure that you stay entertained. So until next video, I've been Michang, and see you.